Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Journaling Through Life. Today, we are chatting to Paris. She is the owner and director of Moto Yoga in Brampton, and she is a yoga instructor and an Ayurvedic practitioner. Paris, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. Thank you.
I love your setup. Are you in your studio today?
Yes, I'm just in my studio cleaning things up and getting ready to paint it.
Oh, that's always exciting. Well, I guess now is as good a time as any, right? There's nobody there. You can get some cosmetic things done.
Exactly.
Now, after we spoke last, there was such great feedback from the video that you and I did, and I'll post that video in the description below for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. We were discussing how to use your life force and the knowledge that you get to calm the anxieties, to gain some balance, and to gain some perspective and some life skills on how to manage this. Now, a few questions that came out is children, because sometimes it's so easy just to focus on the adults. Children. So that is going to be our theme for today. So if you can just enlighten us a little bit on how perhaps anxiety in children will manifest different or the same as in adults.
Yeah, sure. I have two little girls myself, so it has been really enlightening to see them grow up and how emotions and different experiences affects them. For the main part, I would say that anxiety and overstressing and tension in children is more raw than it is in adults. The reason for that is not because it's any different, but it's just that they have no filters. They have no way of finding ways to hide it or to support themselves. So you can see it as raw as it is. So that's actually a good thing, because then you actually know that there's a problem and you can address it that way. Right now, children are stuck at home. Some of them, if they're lucky, they have a big backyard, maybe running around. Some of them might be going for walks. But for the main part, they're stuck at home. They can't see their friends. They can't go to their natural routine of going to school and playing with other kids. So it's very, very stressful for them. It really is. So in Ayurveda, we call anything that is anxiety related or fear would be related to Vata dosha. So Vata is the air and the ether element. So Vata is the air that we breathe in, and any kind of movement inside of our body that is really beneficial, because if we don't have any movement, we can't breathe. We can't breathe in, we can't breathe out. If there's no movement, we can't move our body, or our food gets stuck in our throat. We need that movement to take it down. So Vata and all the doshas are very effective in that way, in the functioning that they do in our body. But you want to think of Vata as air, in a sense that if there's wind, things can go out of control very quickly. So Vata is very light. So all of these doshas have qualities to them. If you think about the air element, there's no heaviness to it. So it's very light, it's very mobile, it's very subtle, and it's very cold. There's no heat in Vata. And so and it's very clear, and it's very rough. There's no softness in it. So these are the qualities of Vata. So if we understand that when we are in a stressful situation, when our children are in a stressful situation, all of these qualities will be more than usual. So it's all of a sudden that air, that beautiful movement in the body becomes faster. It becomes the wind. It becomes the storm. And then it becomes the tornado. When it becomes the tornado, we can see in our children that they can't sit quietly. They can't just sit and eat their food. They have to constantly move. They have to constantly, maybe you see a child pacing back and forth because they have that kind of anxiety that they can't even sit down anymore. It could be less than that. It could show in a form of not being able to focus, because air is like always going from this place to that place. They can't find that sense of focus. So anything that we introduce to our children that have these qualities of cold, dry, rough, subtle, mobile, and clear, whether it's in food, whether it's in our emotion and our relationships to them, or it's in their lifestyle, it's going to increase that. The law in Ayurveda is that the same things alike increases like. So if we have, for example, if we have a child that is already experiencing, shallowness in their breath and they can't sit quietly, and then we sit them in front of TV and they watch a show that's really intense and, there's a lot of movement on the screen, you can be sure that that mobility is going to add to the mobility that is already going on in their mind.
Right.
If our child is experiencing these symptoms and we feed them only cold snacks like cereal and milk and, like rice cakes that are rough, harsh, there's no softness into them, there's no warmth into them. So that food is going to create more of the qualities of Vata dosha. In the same manner, the lifestyle, the emotional health, and the mental health, it's all related. So to create a balance, we need to balance these qualities.
That is incredible. And as you were talking, I was just seeing this pacing kid, and the more he paces, the faster it goes. And it reminds me of that Tasmanian devil from, the cartoons when I was little. It's just, but that is incredible. So the food, the environment, even our energies as adults, I'm assuming, whatever we bring into the space can also make that, if we maybe yell or if, our words are too harsh for them, right? Could that be an influence as well?
Absolutely. Children are born connected to that Atman or true self that I was telling you last time. So they're really connected to also what is called the vortex, or their energy cocoon of the source. So they can't understand harshness. They can't understand negativity. It's just not natural to them to understand that. So of course, it's the way we are is one of the best ways we can support our children. So if you are feeling connected and you're feeling aligned and you're feeling calm, the chances are that your children are watching you and feeding off of that kind of alignment and energy. And if you're not feeling well, if you're feeling the anxiety, I see this in my children every day. I really have to bring myself back in and be like, why are they behaving like this? Oh, it's me. It's me. Because today I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling really anxious. I'm feeling really worried about my businesses and things like that with everything that's going on. So what can I do to bring myself into balance so that they watch? And they watch. If you sit down and meditate, you are setting up, in their deep consciousness, you're teaching them a method that is calming you down, and therefore they can use that to calm themselves down.
Oh, I just love that. And we can definitely do a meditation for the kids if you have one, just to show us like how can we meditate together, because I think there's also that disconnect where even though we're in the same house, sometimes we're not on the same level, and it's not like we are the same, we're just not on the same energetic vibration, we're not in alignment to ourselves, so we can't align to anybody else because it's all sporadic and all over the place. So do you recommend that people meditate together? Is there maybe one person that should guide the meditation, or do kids do it themselves? If you can just, before the actual meditation, describe what works best for kids to meditate.
Yeah, sure. I mean, every kid is different. Knowing your kids and what their needs are is obviously very important. But in my house, I've created the children a mindfulness corner. So you can call it a mindfulness corner. You can call it time in, because I don't like to call it time out, because it's like when they're stressed out and anxious and worried about what they've done, you're further excluding them from things. Instead of that, teach them how to come inside of themselves. just sit there. There's a beautiful chair. It looks like they have their stuffies there, their books there, and a few cards they can go through. There's posters up where it says, how are you feeling? So just check in with yourself and see how you feel. So then I teach them to, whenever they're not feeling aligned, go sit in the mindfulness corner and just see how you feel inside of you. You know, if we have, again, set up a place where they can feel that's the safe corner, you know, or that's my safe place. It can be in their own bedroom. They can close the door, whatever they need to do to have that space and that time to themselves. And then for sure, if you have that kind of relationship, that your child would sit with you and say, hey, mommy's feeling really, you know, anxious today. So let's just sit down and close our eyes and take a breath and do this very short and sweet meditation together. If they go for that, that's amazing. If they don't, and they're more like independent and they want to do something on their own, even you can look on YouTube Kids, and there are meditation guidances there that you can just set it up for them. They can lie down and do the meditation for themselves.
Oh, that is wonderful. I love that. And to your point, this morning with my kids, they were bouncing off the walls. I don't know. It's not like we had tons of sugar. It was just one of those days. And I remember that Ripley's Aquarium, plug for them, but they have a live stream of their fish. So I had them, and I know it's another screen, but I'm like, let's just watch the fish. And it was so awesome. The shark came, and, you know, just resetting sort of where they're at, bringing it down with meditation or something that's just a little bit more in the flow of things. It's so helpful. And I love what you said, that they need their own space. Oh, sorry, a bug. I think it's so important, this space, because we create spaces for ourselves, right? And do you think it's even more important for kids, because they are still, depending on where they're at in their milestones, they're very physical. Things need to be very physical. Like you said, their emotions are raw. So it needs to be very practical, very sort of physical to a certain extent as well. Did you find that?
Yes. You know what? Number one thing that I would say is send them outside. Do you have a small backyard or somewhere they can just be outside? Because kids also, because they're so connected to their own nature, they're also very connected to our outside nature, because our outside nature is not different than our internal nature. And I know that we live in Canada and things are very challenging in wintertime, but now we're entering the good time of year where hopefully, you know, things are gonna become warmer and all of that. Send them outside. Let them be in nature as much as possible, and they'll find their own alignment and they will burn their energies. Another thing that you can do for the kids, I was talking about food. Think about those qualities that I mentioned and feed them something opposite of those qualities. What does that mean? It means, again, like, even if it's a glass of water, if the glass of water is cold or it has ice in it, be sure that is going to raise the qualities of vata, anxiety, coldness in the body, in the mind. Just give them some, you know, room temperature water, or maybe some herbal tea. My kids love herbal tea. And I put a little bit of honey in there, so raw honey. If you guys can find raw honey, that is like candy in my house. And so I put it in the tea for them. I put it in their sandwiches. And so I have an example here too. Any kind of raw honey would work. This is my neighbor. She does her own honey in Belle Fountain, and I get it from her. But as long as it's not, you know, the honey that you buy from the grocery store, just make sure it's from health food stores, it's raw, that kind of thing. Honey is a carrier of good stuff to the lymphatic system of the body. So, for example, if you want to give them some of these great Ayurvedic spices as well, we have, like, it can be a slice of ginger. If you see that their digestive tract is not working well, just cut a piece of ginger and put a few drops of lemon and dip it in raw honey, and it becomes like candy, and they can just chew on that. And it will really help their digestive tract. Because children, if vata is high, they're still in the kapha stage of life, which is the water and earth element, because they have all that juiciness up here, because that juiciness in the joints is kind of hugging them to help them grow. And this will support both of those things. So like warm water, warm herbal tea, the ginger wrapped in honey, spice, or there are herbs in Ayurveda that will be helpful as well, like ashwagandha. I have this one that is for children specifically. So just putting a few drops of ashwagandha, it's like everywhere now. You can find it at the health food stores and everything. So these are very natural ways to help their nervous system calm down. One more thing that I do for my children, and I see a huge difference the next day when I do this at nighttime, is I warm up some organic sesame oil. And so it can be organic sesame oil, or some of the Ayurvedic stuff has vata massage oil. And it has some herbs like lavender and things like that that really calms their nervous system. So this is called Abhyanga in Ayurveda. And I've trained my children. I'm like, do you want to do Abhyanga? And they're like, yeah. So just lying them down on a towel, warm up the oil, and massage their bodies. And this is something that you're connecting to your child on a different level. They know how much you love them when you're literally rubbing their body with this snehana, we call it, which is like love, immense amount of love. So just giving them as much oil as they need. They're rubbing their feet and their hands, their little hands get dry, their shoulders, their belly, going up, left, down, and out in the shape of the digestive tract, so that if there's anything stuck there, the oil penetrates in and it removes things from the body. So that can be your thing with them. Maybe not every night, but maybe every weekend or every 3 nights or something like that. It really calms them down. It allows them to go to sleep because it's warm, it's oily, it's heavy. Oil is heavy. So it's all the opposite qualities that we were just talking about with Vata. It calms the nervous system, they have a great sleep, and they have that connection with the parents.
Oh, I love that. And I think that is really the crux of it, right? To find the opposite and then to just employ all these methods that you were just talking about. It's almost like a mother's weighted blanket. It's like, just put on the pressure, bring things down. And I love it because every time you talk, I can visualize it, right? You can visualize the air just like sort of subsiding and not being tornado. Now, I'm assuming it's also important, though, before they get to the tornado state, because we don't want the kids to be, in that state permanently, because that is also very detrimental for the harmony in the house and also for their growth. If you're saying, it holds them to support them to grow, but if they're constantly in this state. So are there ways, and I know every kid is different and you can look at your child, but are there some general things that parents can keep in mind to notice quicker before it gets to the tornado stage?
Yes, absolutely. So Ayurveda is very preventative. So it is really most important to prevent these things from happening. And it's easier to bring them back to balance and normal when we are watching our children. I would say number one thing is your connection with them. Watch them. Every child has a different sense of balance, and usually mothers and fathers know the balance in their child. If you see them acting a little weird, or they're more into themselves, or they're not as happy, question that. Ask yourself, what is going on? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Do they need more rest? What is the balance between taking them outside and having the rest inside? Are they getting a good balance with that? Are they eating the right kind of nutritional food, and then watching them so that we catch this before it gets to that point of tornado, as you're saying.
Absolutely. And what I love what you're saying is, sometimes it's easy just to jump and say, oh, they're anxious, or you go mental health immediately or emotion wise. Maybe start with the practical, very physical things, that root chakra. Make sure they've had enough sleep. Make sure their environment is safe. Like, all of the base things. And I love the food aspect of it. And it's so easy, you know, and we're all at home now, so we can definitely take some time and learn how to do these good, nutritious meals, adding some spice to it. I just love that. That's really, really powerful. In terms of the kids that are very, very, very active at this point in time, you know, if we're not able to send them outside, would you recommend them doing a yoga, or would it be more beneficial for them to maybe do like a dance or something that can get that energy out, not like to spiral into a tornado? But is that question clear?
No, that's a really good question, because sometimes when they're overactive to that point, you can't ask them to sit down and meditate. They'll be like, "What are you even talking about? I need to move." So, yes, so yoga is a form of meditation and action in movement. I would say any way that you can get them to move, do that. And sometimes for some children, it's better to like not allow any screen time. Just be like, screen is gone. What can you do outside of that? Let them get bored so that they can become creative and find things to do. I see that with my daughter that is 5. I've tried to create a balance between some screen time and some not. As soon as she has the screen, forget it. Her mood changes. She's a different little girl. So I have had to say, you know what, nothing at all. And then she finds other things to do. So yes, if we're at that point of overaction, then give them something to do action wise so that that can calm them down slowly.
Right. Thank you. That's so valuable. And in personal experience, my children too, that's why we do not do screen time. You know, they have to for school now. So that is their structured screen time. But the mornings that they do it, or they used to, it's a totally different kid. I'm like, it's almost like that intentional mindset that you do in the morning, right? Whatever you start with in the morning is sort of where your day is going to go. So I'm like, do something nice. Look at the birds outside, you know, play, do anything that creative juices. I just love that. That's so empowering. Thank you. Now, if you don't mind, if our kids are in the meditative mood, is there a meditation that you can share with us so that the kids can do it?
Sure, let's try a short meditation. Kids really like to envision things, you know, in that light kind of way with nature. So this one is, it can be really anything. You can change it up. I'm going to use a envisioning of a butterfly moving around their body. But you can just have any kind of animal, really, because kids do connect with animals on a totally different way than we do. So you can have the child sit down on a chair and just be really supported, or you can ask them to lie down even on a bed or on a yoga mat, whatever is comfortable. And then we ask them to close their eyes, so closing the eyes and becoming really comfortable here, whether you're sitting down or you're lying down. Watch your breath. Maybe even if you have a stuffy around, put it on your belly, or if you have your doll around, put it on your belly if you're lying down, and watch your belly lift up and your stuffy come up as you inhale, and then it goes down as you exhale. Again, inhaling, watch it go up, exhaling, coming down. Find a rhythm with that. Inhaling, belly lifts. Exhaling, you become so calm and relaxed and supported by your yoga mat or the mattress or the earth that you're sitting on or lying down on. And then as you lie down here, envision a butterfly. So a butterfly comes into your vision in your mind. Notice what the butterfly looks like. What color is it? Can you see the wings maybe moving? Can you see the colors on its wings? Is it moving fast or slow? Is it hovering over top of your head or around your face? Notice where the butterfly is. Is it in a garden or is it inside your room? And now as you continue to envision the butterfly, notice that the butterfly flies all the way onto your forehead and sits on your forehead. And when it sits on your forehead, there's this sensation of warmth, heaviness, and calm that enters your head. Just breathe into that warmth. It's a really good sensation. And then the butterfly flies off and sits on your left shoulder. And it becomes very heavy and warm. It really relaxes your left shoulder. Take a breath here. And then watch as the butterfly flies now all the way to your right shoulder. Let it become heavy. Relax the right shoulder and allow the right shoulder to fall down. With every breath, you become heavier and calmer. And then the butterfly flies all the way onto your belly. And then it can feel your belly going up and down. Belly inhaling, belly lifting up, exhaling, belly going down. And with the presence of the butterfly, now things become really calm in your stomach, in your belly. Sense the warmth that the butterfly brings to your belly. And allow everything to calm in the belly. And then notice that the butterfly flies away and sits on your toes, on your right toes. And as it sits on your right toes, it calms the entire right foot. And then the right ankle and the knee, the entire right leg becomes really heavy and calm, warm and relaxed. And then watch as the butterfly flies all the way on your belly again. Notice that feeling of calm, warmth, and support in your belly. And then watch the butterfly fly all the way to the left toes. So as it flies on the left toes, it makes the left foot really nice and heavy and relaxed. The left ankle, left knee, and the entire left leg. Take a breath. Notice how calm you feel. Everything is just fine the way it is. Because this butterfly has brought to you a sense of peace and quiet. And from this state, you can be anything you want to be and do anything you need to do today. Stay here as long as you wish. And then only when you're ready, notice that the butterfly flies away. Take a deep breath. Keep the sense of calm as you open the eyes.
Thank you. That was so beautiful. That was so calming. I always see green with you, I think. I think it's a color that just connects us. It has to be green.
Color of the heart chakra, right?
The heart. Exactly. Oh, Paris, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's such an, I always think, people can make things more complicated than they need to be. It's such a beautiful meditation, even in its simplicity. It's like, just go with it and find what works for you and your family. You are such an inspiration. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us again today. And I'm sure this is going to help lots of people and lots of kids. Thank you so much. And now, Paris, are you still doing things online? Let's give the people something where they can find you. If you guys are shipping some of your product, I'm not sure if your store is open or if that's a future thing. I just noticed the bottles. So please tell us what you're up to and where people can find you.
Yeah, for sure. So my website is just my first and last name.com. So parismoghtader.com. And under the courses and the content page, they can find a lot of yoga classes and meditation practices and things like that. And I'm still doing my one-on-one Ayurvedic sessions on Zoom. So even if the moms or dads or for yourself, you need a half an hour guidance of, this is how I'm feeling, what should I be doing, or what should I be eating, or what am I doing wrong? I can jump on those calls with you, no problem. And yes, I can definitely. I've been mailing the Ayurvedic herbs. So if I have them in stock, you got them.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. And as always, we will put all the links in the description so you guys can just click on it and find Paris. And I think I'm going to buy that one for the kids. It sounds like it's a must have in every cabinet.
Amazing. Yeah.
It is. Well, Paris, thank you so much. And we will chat again real soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Help your child bring the anxiety levels down by writing. Visit journalingthrough.life for creative journaling prompts to help you and your family find balance in the home. Keep journaling and keep growing.